Well, let me just get into this. We are just starting. So, stream's excellent health. I will leave this on a smaller scale since I am not using webcam. And let's go into the book. The story I'll be reading is called The King's Avatar. And let's just start. The Banished Battle God. Click, click, tap, tap. A pair of nimble hands fluttered across the keyboard and mouse, producing rhythmic tapping sounds, much like a lively symphony. The screen flashed with bright light, and the opponents fell to the ground in a spray of blood. Hehe, Yachi chuckled as he lifted his hand to take the cigarette dangling at the corner. The smoke already formed. Long tendrils hang in the air. Yechiel continued his work. Brandish his mouth, striking his keyboard, the least bit distracted. The moving cigarette was quickly extinguished in an eccentrically ashtray on the table, and Yechiel's hands flew back to the keyboard. Right when he was about to say a few words to his opponent, the door of his room was suddenly pushed open. Yechiel didn't turn his head, as though he had been waiting for this moment. He merely asked, "Here?" "Here," Shen Muchen replied. Very simple. "Then let's go." Yechiel declined his opponent's request for another and gently removed the card from Glory's dedicated login device. He headed to the door, grabbing a jacket from on his. The night had already darkened considerably, but Excellence era lights were still bright. Yechiel and Shu Mucheng left the room and walked all the way to the end of the corridor. It was a spacious conference room. At the entrance, digital display screens almost completely covered the walls. They showed the rankings of the Glory Professional Alliance and vehicle statistics. Ranking: Excellent Era number 19, second to last place. For a trump card team that had once won 3 consecutive championship titles in the league, the score was particularly painful to the eyes. It hung brightly and glaringly on the wall, as if heartlessly mocking everyone. But the atmosphere in the room, on the contrary, it was somewhat lively. The members of Excellent Era were all gathered around one person, as if they were stars surrounding the moon. Most of them didn't react to Yechiel's arrival. One that did quickly swept over him with expressions of coldness and mockery. The club already decided that the newly transferred Sun Jiang will take over your position as captain. From now on, Sun Jiang will be in control of your account one autumn leaf. The club manager saw the arrival of Yechiel and immediately turned his head to speak. With no tact or prior warning, he notified him of this in an ice-cold manner, as if he were throwing away a bowl of used toilet paper. Shanmu Chen opened her mouth to speak, but Ye Chiu lightly tugged her at her sleeve. He smiled faintly and shook his head at her, indicating he wasn't fazed. Brother Ye, I'm sorry. I took your position as soon as I arrived. The left-hand side of the conference table was an exclusive seat for Excellent Era's team captain, but Shang Jiang casually sat there as he said these few words, barely sparing a glance for Ye Chiu. This was no longer ignorance. Rather, it was a form of disregard. His gaze fell instead upon the body of Shanmu Chen, who had arrived with Ye Chiu. To be fair, Shanmu Chen was indeed more attractive to the eye than Ye Chiu. She was known as the Glory Professional Alliance #1 beauty. If she were thrown into show business, she would still be considered a rare beauty. Even the Excellent Era members who saw her every day were still somewhat stunned when they saw Shanmu Chen enter. But they quickly recovered because today there was a more important person that deserved their attention. Haha, Brother Shang. With those words, this position definitely suits you. Everyone promptly scrambled for their lines after Sun Xiang spoke. Right. Some people are already old and outdated. One autumn leaf should really be under Brother Shang's command. Only he can show the true strength of the battle god. This was the subject of everyone's focus. Sun Xiang, a genius-level player of the new generation of the Glory Professional Alliance. When he joined this league last season, Sun Xiang won the best newcomer title with his MVP-like stats. He led the team conquering clouds to the 8th place, and they had strong hopes of advancing to the playoffs. But during the mid-season transfer window, he transferred to the collapsing Excellent Era. It was entirely because, although Excellent Era's performance this season was terrible, they possessed a character who was regarded as the battle god of glory. Battle Mage 1 Autumn Leaf. Sun Xiang was young and hadn't even been a part of the alliance for 2 years. But these Excellent Era members shamelessly approached him, calling him their elder brother. It was clear that Sun Xiang would be the future leader of the team, and he comfortably accepted their flattery. It was a while before he was willing to spare a glance for Ye Chiu, his eyes filled with disdain. Ye Chiu, hand over 1 Autumn Leaves account card to Sun Xiang, the club manager said. Even if Ye Chiu was unfazed before, at this moment, his heart couldn't help but ache. Ye Chiu, 1 Autumn Leaf. The relationship between those two names was obvious. This was the name created when he first entered the game World of Glory. Years. This account had a company for Ye Chiu for a full 10 years. The newbie back then had become the expert Glory textbook. The insignificant battle mage had turned into the famed battle god of glory. But 7 years ago, he entered the professional circle. He signed a business contract with the club, transferring them all of the rights to one autumn leaf. Yechiel had long known that they would part ways one day, but now this day finally arrived. Yechiel's fingers trembled just slightly. For a pro player, steady hands were a must. This old veteran had an immense, unrivaled mental strength, but right now, his hands were trembling. To the side, Shumu twisted her head. She did not want to see the scene, but she was powerless to help. Of everyone's delighting in his misfortune, one autumn leaf, that silver-white account card, was handed over to Sanjiang. Sanjiang's eyes lit up with greed and excitement. Excellent Era had been greatly plummeting the past 2 years, but he had willingly transferred here solely because they had this pinnacle account, One Autumn Leaf. One Autumn Leaf's former owner, Yechiel, had not performed well the past few years, and he often broke out in arguments with the club. Sanjiang had 100% confidence in replacing him. Mine. In the instant he grabbed the card, Sanjiang felt a burst of excitement. As he tried to pull away, he felt a trace of resistance from the card. Sanjiang felt Yechiel's reluctant and proudly chortled. Let go, brother Ye. Look at your hands. They're shaking like this. How could those hands show off the power of the battle god? Better leave it to me. I'll let the title of the battle god once again resound through glory. You retire. Up until now, Yechiel had mostly acted indifferent. Aside from the reluctance when handing over the account card. But after saying this, Sanjiang saw a sharp flash in Yechiel's eyes, and he discovered in shock that Yechiel's trembling hands. Do you like this game? Yechiel asked suddenly, looking straight at Sanjiang. What? Sanjiang was startled. If you like it, then treat this all as glory and not. What did you say? What does this have to do with you? Sanjiang suddenly lost control. At this moment, without knowing why, he felt that he was a head shorter than Yechiel. He didn't want to lose to his opponent in attitude. He came here to replace Yechiel. He came here to take the battle god One Leaf. Take care of it. Just when Sanjiang wanted to muster his loftiness, Yechiel had already let go of the account card. He said faintly and turned around to leave. Yechiel! At this moment, the manager suddenly called out. Yechiel stopped and tilted his head slightly to the side, listening as the manager said behind him, "The club doesn't have any suitable account cards to give you right now. For now, you can just stay as a training partner. A person who had built a dynasty in the Alliance, an expert who had earned all the individual honors of glory. had actually fallen now to become a mere training partner? Sunshang was very interested in this arrangement, immediately laughing out loud. With Brother Ye's skill level, helping me train won't be a problem. You only deserve to be a Glory Professional Alliance #1 training partner. Yechiel actually laughed at that insult. He turned towards the manager. Training partner? I don't think that was necessary. Cancel the contract. Cancel the contract? Are you actively seeking to cancel the contract? The manager looked as he were in deep thought. Right. I request to cancel the contract. Don't be rash! Shumu Chen immediately rushed over to stop Yechiel. The alliance had its own rules, except for special reasons during the contract period. Anyone requesting to cancel a contract had to pay a penalty fee. Yechiel, an excellence era, still had 1.5 years in the contract. If he were to forcefully request a termination of the contract, then the loss would be huge. But more than that, Shumu Cheng feared Yechiel's departure. The boss isn't here yet. Wait for him to come before you continue speaking. Shumu Cheng hoped Yechiel would calm down. Yechiel had noticed the trace of ridicule at the corners of the manager's mouth long ago. He shook his head towards Shumu Cheng and laughed bitterly. Mu Cheng, don't you understand? My departure is the boss's goal. I no longer have any value in this club. I'm only a money sink. No way! How could you be a money sink? Your strength doesn't lose to anyone, Shumu Cheng said. This isn't just an issue of strength. This is business, Yechiel said. And me? I've never had any business value. You should have had value. You chose to give it up, the manager coldly interjected at this moment. Right. This is my choice, Yechiel said. The current Glory Professional was flourishing. Sponsors flocking left and right. Celebrity players in Glory were naturally sought out after for advertisement or endorsements. But even though Yechiel was at the top tier level player, he rejected all advertising offers. He refused to take part in interviews or press conference. He was like an ancient netizen, carefully concealing his true identity with virtual reality. The club was extremely dissatisfied with this matter. In their eyes, he was a gold mountain right beside him, yet they couldn't dig out even the slightest amount of profit. They were only able to put up with him because his strength was tyrannical, helping the club gain fame and glory. But as their achievements declined, everything was now the alliance. Commercialization allow us to survive. But now, Yechiel couldn't say anything further. He also didn't know whether this development was good or bad. The current alliance was full of greed. Every alliance boss' first consideration was how to exploit the team to make profits, harboring a love for gaming and tirelessly struggling for glory. Still cherish his memories of the early days of the alliance. But now the alliance only strived for profit. Shumu Cheng didn't say another word. She had walked alongside Yechiel on the same path. She too was a veteran. who had witnessed all of this. Her eyes were brimming in tears. She knew that Ye Chiu truly wanted to leave, and blocking him would only make it more painful for him. Since it's like this, No need, Ye Chiu smiled, interrupting Shumu Cheng. He knew what she wanted to say, and so he said to her, "Don't worry, I haven't lost all hope yet. I'll be back." Not bad. That's the ambitious Ye Chiu I recognized. Then, let's talk about the penalty fees. Honestly speaking, since you've been with us for so many years and contribute so much, we won't push it. If you want to leave, then let's all sit down and talk about the details of cancelling the contract. How about it? Tell it to be straight. What are your conditions? The conditions is simple. Announce your retirement. Retirement? You call that condition not pushing it? Shumu Cheng was furious. Ye Chiu was 25 years old this year. For pro players in competitive sport, this age was considered old. And retiring at this age was not at all strange. But Ye Chiu already stated clearly he didn't want to quit. The Excellence Era manager's condition of the retirement was obviously directed against him. Retired pro players, of course, were not qualified to participate in a tournament. Although they could return, the Glory Professional Alliance had a rule stating that retired pro players could only return after a full year. This was to prevent the team switching games played by people retirement one day and returning the next. Ye Chiu was already at the twilight years of his career. Every day was precious, but now they wanted him to waste a year. After 1 year, even if he wanted to return again, he would be old and lacking a year of intense competition to maintain his skill level. Even if he had his former fame, it was highly uncertain that a team would still be willing to accept him. In addition, Ye Chiu had his fatal flaw. He refused all business-related activities. It seems like an unacceptable condition, but Ye Chiu simply nodded his head. "I agree." "Are you crazy?" Shumu Cheng exclaimed. "I've worked so hard for so many years. What's so bad about a year of rest?" Ye Chiu smiled. What are you thinking?" Shumu Cheng didn't understand. "Nothing much." Ye Chiu turned his head. The manager already handed over the documents. Ye Chiu took a glance and laughed a bit. They'd really prepare for this long ago. As he thought about this, Ye Chiu put the pen to paper and quickly signed his name. Just about to leave, Ye Chiu took one final look at this place where he spent 7 years. He didn't say any polite farewells and silently turned around to leave. "I'll send you off." Shumu Cheng was the only one to follow behind. Well, that's the end of the first chapter. I hope you enjoyed listening, and we'll stream the next chapter maybe in a couple of days. Okay, logging off. Bye.